You know that feeling when you scroll through a dozen gaming laptop listings, see those glossy photos, the insane core counts, the 240Hz screens, and you think you've found the perfect machine only to get it home and discover it's either a toaster that overheats or a brick you can't even carry up the stairs? I've been there, and that hesitation is why I wanted to break down the ASUS ROG Strix G18 before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's set the stage for the kind of laptop we're talking about. An 18-inch chassis with a 2.5K WQXGA Nebula panel at 240Hz is basically a desktop monitor you can fold shut. That's a huge advantage if you sit at a desk and want an immersive field of view without buying an external monitor, but it also means the machine weighs well over 6 pounds and the battery has to power a screen that big at a blistering refresh rate. In the real world that translates to a laptop you'll likely keep plugged in most of the time, and you'll need a sturdy desk to accommodate the footprint. The heart of the Strix G18 is the Intel 24-core Ultra 9275HX, capable of boosting up to 5.4 GHz. On paper that sounds like a future-proof CPU, and in practice it does feel like you've got a mini desktop under the hood. I ran a few modern titles, Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, and Horizon Zero Dawn while streaming on Twitch, and the frame rates stayed well above 60 frames per second at 1080p high settings. The extra cores also showed their worth when I opened Premiere Pro and started a 4K edit while the game was still running in the background. No stutter, no dropped frames, just smooth multitasking that you'd expect from a workstation. Now, the GPU is an RTX 5060 laptop. It's a step below the RTX 4070 series you see in the top-tier ROG models, so you shouldn't expect ray-traced ultra settings at 1440p or 4K. In the games I tested, the 5060 delivered solid performance at 1080p, hitting 100,120 frames per second on high presets, which pairs nicely with that 240Hz panel. If you push the resolution up to the native 2.5K, you'll see a dip into the 5060 frames per second range on the most demanding titles, which is still playable but not max-out territory. For most gamers who prioritize fluid motion over absolute visual fidelity, that trade-off feels acceptable, especially when you consider the price point compared to a laptop with an RTX 4070. The 32GB of DDR5 5600 RAM feels generous, and I didn't hit any memory ceiling even with multiple browsers, Discord, and a few background utilities running while gaming. The 1TB PCIe 4.0 SSD loads worlds in seconds, open-world maps in Cyberpunk loaded in under 10 seconds, and the OS booted in just over a minute. Those storage and memory numbers give you headroom for large game libraries, video projects, and virtual machines without needing to upgrade soon. One of the less obvious strengths is the Wi-Fi 7 module. In my apartment, the laptop maintained a stable 1 gigabit per second connection while I was streaming and gaming simultaneously, with virtually zero latency spikes. For anyone who relies on cloud gaming services like GeForce Now or Xbox Cloud, that next-gen wireless can be a real differentiator, especially as more routers adopt the standard. Cooling is another area where ASUS tried to be clever. The Strix G18 uses a dual-fan, vapor chamber design that keeps the CPU temps under 85°C under sustained load. The fans do ramp up, and you'll notice a noticeable whine when the GPU is pushing hard in a marathon gaming session, but the noise stayed below what I'd consider distracting. If you're used to the aggressive fan curves on some thin gaming laptops, you'll actually appreciate that this model strikes a balance between cooling and acoustic comfort. On the flip side, the size and weight are the biggest practical drawbacks. At 6.5 pounds and a 0.9-inch thickness, the laptop isn't something you'll want to carry around campus or cram into an airline overhead bin. The battery, a 97Wh pack, gives roughly 45 hours of mixed-use gaming will drain it faster, and the high refresh screen adds to the draw. In my day-to-day, I kept it plugged in at my desk, and the power brick is a chunky 230W unit that also takes up desk real estate. If you're a gamer who travels often or wants a laptop that can double as a daily commuter, This might feel more like a desktop replacement than a portable solution. Another subtle trade-off is the lack of a dedicated optical drive, which isn't a surprise these days, but it means you'll need an external USB-C DVD writer if you still rely on physical media. Also, while Windows 11 Pro adds some business-oriented security features,